The heavy metallic click echoed through the marble-floored study as the millionaire swung open the gleaming safe and left it ajar. Stacks of crisp bills and velvet-lined boxes of jewelry gleaming under the golden lamplight. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. His eyes flicked around the room, lips tightening as he whispered to himself, "Tonight, I'll finally know the truth." The silence of his mansion pressed down like a secret waiting to explode, only interrupted by the distant ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall. He leaned back in his leather chair, waiting for the woman he had both trusted and doubted for months. Charles Whitmore, known across the city as a ruthless investor, had everything money could buy: fast cars, marble estates, and a name that commanded fear. Yet beneath his wealth simmered a paranoia that refused to rest. Rumors of missing money, whispers among his staff, and his own restless suspicion had narrowed his focus on one person: Elena, the maid. She was quiet, precise, never late, never careless. But her silence, her refusal to engage beyond the polite minimum, had twisted in Charles's mind into something else, something dangerous. He needed proof, and the open safe was bait. Elena arrived just as the grandfather clock struck 8, her soft footsteps echoing in the vast foyer. Dressed in her modest uniform, hair tied back neatly, she clutched her cleaning supplies with both hands. The scent of lemon polish followed her, a reminder of her diligence. She bowed her head slightly as she entered the study, her dark eyes glancing briefly at Charles before lowering again. Charles pretended to be absorbed in his papers, but his heartbeat quickened. His gaze sharpened when she moved past the desk, closer to the shining door of the safe, its contents screaming for attention. The room went silent. Only the hum of the chandelier filled the air. Elena's movements slowed when she noticed the safe. She froze for a moment, her hand tightening on the rag she carried. Charles's breath caught, his pen halting mid-stroke. The scene unfolded in slow motion for him, her hesitation, the slight turn of her head, the weight of temptation hanging in the air. His fists clenched under the desk, anticipation and dread twisting in his chest. Would she confirm his darkest suspicions, or had he been wrong all along? Elena stepped closer, her shoes whispering against the polished floor. Charles's eyes narrowed, watching every detail, every twitch of her hand. She set her cleaning supplies down and slowly crouched before the open safe. His chest burned with adrenaline. This was it, the moment he had orchestrated, the trap that would reveal her truth. He leaned forward, fingers drumming against the desk, pulse hammering in his ears. She reached out her hand, trembling slightly as her fingers hovered near the glittering bracelets. But instead of snatching them, Elena reached deeper, pulling out a worn envelope tucked behind the stacks of cash. Charles blinked in shock. He hadn't even noticed it himself. She held it carefully, her gaze softening with a pain he didn't recognize. His jaw tightened. What was she doing with something hidden in his safe? Rage surged in him like fire. "What do you think you're doing?" His voice cracked through the silence, sharp as glass. Elena flinched, the envelope nearly slipping from her hand. Her eyes darted to him, wide and startled, but not guilty. "Sir, this letter. It's from your wife." The words sliced through the tension, sending Charles reeling backward in his chair. His late wife, Amelia, the only person he had ever loved, whose absence still haunted the empty corridors of his mansion. He stood, fists clenched, eyes blazing. "How dare you touch her things?" His roar thundered in the room, his grief and suspicion merging into something venomous. Elena shook her head, clutching the envelope as though it were sacred. "I only wanted to return it. I found it weeks ago behind the cabinet while cleaning. I didn't want to intrude. I thought tonight was the right moment." Her voice trembled, but her eyes held firm honesty. Charles's rage faltered for a heartbeat, but pride pulled him back. He stepped closer, towering over her, his presence suffocating. "Lies," he spat. "All lies to cover your theft. Do you think I'm blind?" The chandelier lights glimmered against his face, highlighting the storm raging in his expression. Elena's breath quickened, but she didn't retreat. She opened the envelope with shaking fingers, revealing Amelia's delicate handwriting. The first lines spilled into the room like ghosts. "Charles, if you are reading this, it means my days are shorter than I hoped. I want you to remember kindness, for without it, wealth is nothing. The letter trembled in Elena's grip as Charles froze, his fury colliding with heartbreak. The study seemed to close in on them, silence pressing like a weight as Amelia's voice returned to life through ink and memory. Charles staggered back, his hand clutching the edge of the desk as Amelia's words pierced through the armor he had built around his heart. Elena's voice was steady now, though tears welled in her eyes. She read aloud, each word carving into the silence. I trust Elena more than anyone in this house. She has been my comfort, my help, my friend. Promise me you will never doubt her loyalty. The room went still, the truth shattering the walls of suspicion that Charles had trapped himself within. His breathing faltered. His gaze sharpened, no longer in anger, but in realization of the cruelty he had inflicted. His knees weakened, and he sank into the chair, staring at the floor. Memories of Amelia's laughter, her gentle hand on his arm, her insistence on kindness replayed in his mind like a film he had forgotten. The safe, the trap, the accusations. All of it seemed petty against the echo of Amelia's dying wish. Charles's fists unclenched, trembling now with regret. He whispered, almost to himself, I accused you. I doubted you when she trusted you more than anyone. His voice cracked, his pride crumbling under the weight of truth. Elena folded the letter back with care and placed it on the desk, her gaze firm but gentle. She believed in love, sir. She wanted you to remember it, even in your loneliness. Her words carried no bitterness, only a quiet dignity. Charles looked at her, his eyes wet, his breath uneven. The image of her standing tall, holding Amelia's letter like a shield of truth, seared itself into his mind. For the first time in years, his fortress of suspicion began to crumble. Tears slipped down his face, unguarded, unstoppable. He had tried to trap her, to break her, but instead she had handed him the one thing he needed most, Amelia's voice. He lowered his head, his body shaking, the millionaire undone not by betrayal, but by loyalty too pure to deny. The silence in the study transformed into something softer, like Amelia's presence lingered there, watching. Charles whispered, "Forgive me." It was unclear if he spoke to Elena or to Amelia's memory, but both seemed to hear it. The moral was clear, etched in every line of Amelia's letter and every tear on Charles's face. Wealth without trust is emptiness, suspicion without truth is poison, and kindness is the only legacy that endures. As the camera of imagination zooms out on the lonely millionaire finally humbled, the letter resting on the desk like a beacon, we close with this. If you found yourself in Charles's shoes, would you have trusted Elena or set the same trap? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one.